The night Chibuzo drove his mother out of his house, the rain did not fall gently. It came down hard, like heaven itself was angry. Mama Ngozi stood at the gate with his small old bag in her hand. Her wrapper was wet already. Rainwater ran down her grey hair and old face. Her hands were shaking, not because of cold alone, but because the son she had carried in her womb was the one pushing her into the net. Inside the compound, Lilian stood under the veranda, her arms folded. Chibuzo stood near the door, breathing hard, his face full of anger, confusion, and something else he refused to name. Pain. "Mama," he said, not looking her fully in the eye, "just go for now. Let there be peace." Mama Ngozi stared at him. For a moment, she looked as if she had not heard well. "Go?" she whispered. The rain hit the ground harder. "My son," she said, voice breaking, "where do you want me to go in this rain?" Chibuzo swallowed. He wanted to answer, but Lilian spoke first. "She can go to any of those people in the village she always gossips with," she said coldly. Mama Ngozi turned slowly toward her daughter-in-law. She said nothing. Then she looked back at Chibuzo this time. Her eyes were not angry. They were worse. They were broken. "A child who grew under my ribs now sends me away like a goat," she said softly. One woman standing outside the gate covered her mouth and began to cry. An old man under an umbrella shook his head. "A child who throws away his mother throws away his blessing," he muttered. Mama Ngozi adjusted the wet bag in her hand. She did not curse her son. She did not shout. She only said, "May God judge between us." Then she turned and walked into the rain. And before morning came, Chibuzo's life began to break. But this story did not start with rain. It started many years before, in hunger, sacrifice, and a promise a son should never have broken. Before Chibuzo became rich, he was just a small village boy with dusty feet and big dreams. His father died when he was 8. One moment the man was alive, coughing and trying to be strong. The next moment he was gone, buried under red earth, leaving Mama Ngozi with a child, debts, and a future full of darkness. The village pitied her, but pity does not pay school fees. Mama Ngozi worked like 3 people inside one tired body. She sold firewood. She washed clothes for wealthier women. She worked on other people's farms. On some days, she would return home so tired that her legs shook under her. Yet, when little Chibuzo said, "Mama, are you okay?" she would smile and say, "I am strong." She lied often, not because she was bad, because she was a mother. Many nights, she cooked only one small meal and told Chibuzo, "I already ate outside." But she had not eaten. She would sit in darkness after he slept, drinking water to silence her own hunger. Sometimes, Chibuzo woke up and saw her mending his school uniform under a weak lantern. Sometimes, he saw her crying quietly when he thought he was asleep. Those moments entered his heart like nails. One evening, when he was about 12, he came back from school and found his mother selling her only gold earring. That earring had belonged to her on her wedding day. "Mama, why are you selling it?" he asked. She smiled like it was nothing. "Your exam fee is tomorrow." Chibuzo's eyes filled with tears. That day, he held her hand and made a promise. "Mama, when I grow up and make money, you will never suffer again. Never." Mama Ngozi touched his cheek. "Just be a good man, that is enough." But to Chibuzo, it was not enough. He wanted more. He wanted to lift his mother out of poverty forever. And for a long time, that dream kept him clean. Years passed. Chibuzo worked hard. He studied, struggled, moved to the city, slept in crowded rooms, did small jobs, and slowly built a business. He sold phone accessories first, then electronics, then bigger things. Money started coming. Not all at once, but enough for people to notice. When he bought his first car, the village talked. When he built a fine house in Umuaku, the village praised him. See Chibuzo, he remembered home. See how he carried his mother from suffering. And truly, when he first brought Mama Ngozi into the new house, it was a beautiful thing. He gave her the best room on the ground floor. He bought her new wrappers. He made sure she had good food, medicine, soft slippers, even a television she hardly watched because she preferred sitting outside in the evening greeting neighbors. Mama Ngozi's life finally became calm. She would wake, pray, sweep a little, sit under the mango tree and smile like a woman whose heart had seen enough tears. Sometimes she touched the wall of the house and whispered, "My son has done well." The village loved Chibuzo for that. For a time, he was still the son who remembered Homa. Then he married Lilian, and slowly he forgot. Lilian entered Chibuzo's life like perfume. Beautiful, polished, confident, with skin that always looked expensive and a smile that could fool careless people. She came from a wealthy family in town. She spoke good English. She wore designer things. She knew how to sit, how to smile, how to make herself look like a blessing. At first, Mama Ngozi welcomed her with open arms. "My daughter," she called her. She even gave Lilian her late husband old Bible as a gift, saying, "This house stands by prayer." Lilian smiled and accepted. But once the wedding ended, her real heart began to show. It started with little things. She complained about Mama Ngozi drying bitter leaf in the backyard. "Why must everything smell like village?" she said. She complained about Mama Ngozi's old wrappers. "She dresses like a beggar in front of visitors." She complained about the way Mama Ngozi greeted people loudly at the gate. Must she talk to everybody? What kind of lifestyle is that? At first, Chibuzo laughed it off. "Leave Mama," he would say. "That is how old people are." But Lilian did not stop. Soon, her complaints became sharper. "She enters the kitchen without knocking. She's always watching me. She makes me uncomfortable in my own house." Sometimes she would cry. Sometimes she would refuse to eat. Sometimes she would lock herself in the room until Chibuzo begged her to come out. And every time, she said the same thing in different ways. "This house is too crowded for 2 women." Chibuzo knew what she meant. Still, he refused to face it. So instead of correcting his wife, he started asking Mama to adjust. "Mama, maybe don't come upstairs too often. Mama, maybe rest in your room when my friends visit. Mama, maybe don't question Lilian about house things." Each time, Mama Ngozi would nod quietly. "Okay, my son." She kept shrinking herself to keep peace. But greedy people don't stomp when you move back. They only step forward. One afternoon, Lilian staged a fight that changed everything. Chibuzo had traveled to the city that morning and returned tired in the evening. As soon as he entered, Lilian rushed to him crying, "Your mother insulted me." Chibuzo frowned. "What happened?" "She called me barren because I have not given birth yet. She said I am only eating your money." Upstairs, Mama Ngozi heard the shouting and came down slowly. "My son," she said, "that is not what happened." Lilian answered sharply, "So I am a liar now." Mama Ngozi's voice was calm. "I only asked why you sent the maid away. I did not insult you." Lilian began to cry harder. "You see, you always support her. I am tired. I am tired." She fell on the sofa dramatically. Chibuzo held his head. He was tired from work, tired from arguments, tired from always standing between both women. And when tired people refuse to seek truth, they often choose the nearest lie. "Everybody should stop," he shouted. The room went still. He turned to his mother, and what he said next came from weakness, not wisdom. "Mama, maybe this arrangement is no longer working." Mama Ngozi looked at him carefully. "What arrangement?" Chibuzo avoided his eyes. Maybe you should go and stay with Auntie Uju for some time." The whole room became silent. Even Lilian stopped crying for a second. Mama Ngozi stared at her son. "Your father's house is now too small for me?" Chibuzo swallowed. "Mama, it's not like that." "Then how is it?" she asked softly. He said nothing. Lilian stood up and folded her arms. "If she stays here, I will leave." There it was, the poison now in plain sight. Mama Ngozi looked from Lilian to her son, and in that moment she understood the truth. Chibuzo was choosing peace with his wife over justice for his mother. She nodded slowly, like a woman accepting a wound she never expected. "I hear," she said. Then she went to her room to pack. When Mama Ngozi left that rainy night, the village did not sleep. People talked in low voices. Some cursed Lilian, some blamed Chibuzo more. An outsider can only push the hand. It is the son that does the throwing, Elder Ekela said. And by dawn, Kama entered the house. The first call came at 5 a.m. Chibuzo's warehouse in the city was robbed. Goods worth millions were done. He sat up in shock.
Another call entered. A major business partner had pulled out of a deal. Then another. His company account was under investigation because of a complaint he didn't understand. By afternoon, his driver called crying, "Sir, your new Jeep caught fire on the express road." Lilian began to panic. "What is happening?" she shouted. Chibuzo tried to stay strong, but his chest was shaking. By evening, more bad news came. A shipment was missing. A supplier demanded urgent payment. One of his staff disappeared with money. It was as if every hole in life had opened at once. That night, Chibuzo sat in the dark and remembered his mother walking into the rain. Sleep did not come, only fear. 3 days later, the house looked different. Not physically, spiritually. The confidence was gone. The peace was gone. Lilian, who once walked around like a queen, now looked angry and restless. When Chibuzo asked her to calm down, she snapped, "Why are you shouting at me? Did I tell your business to collapse?" He stared at her. Was this the woman he had wounded his mother for? The next morning, he woke up to find drawers open, boxes empty. Lilian was gone. She had packed her clothes, jewelry, and expensive bags. On the bed, she left only one note. "I did not marry struggle. Fix your life." Chibuzo sat down slowly. For a long time, he did not move. Then he laughed once. It was a broken laugh, the kind that sounds very close to crying. By evening, he was crying indeed, not for the money alone, not for the wife who left, but because for the first time he saw himself clearly. He had pushed away the one person who loved him before he had anything, and the person he chose over her had vanished the moment the money shook. Elder Enyinna came to see him that night. The old man entered quietly and found Chibuzo sitting on the floor like a child. "You have heard now," Elder Enyinna said. "Heard what?" Chibuzo asked weakly. "The sound of your mother's tears." Chibuzo covered his face. Elder Enyinna sat beside him. "When your father died, do you know who carried firewood on that same road where your mother walked out 3 nights ago? Your mother. Do you know who begged me for old school books for you? Your mother. Do you know who sold the last thing she had to keep you in school? Your mother." Every word hit Chibuzo like a slap. "The tears of a mother do not fall to the ground for nothing," Elder Enyinna said. "Go and find her." Chibuzo looked up, crying openly now. "I don't know where she is." Elder Enyinna stood. "Then search until your legs fail." Chibuzo searched like a man looking for his own breath. He went to relatives, nothing. He went to nearby villages, nothing. He asked old women at markets, bike riders, church members, farmers, everyone. For 2 days, no one knew. On the 3rd day, a widow at the edge of the next village said softly, "Are you the son of Mama Ngozi?" Chibuzo's heart jumped. "Yes, where is she?" The widow pointed to a small hut behind hers. "She has been there since that rainy night. Fever caught her yesterday." Chibuzo did not wait. He ran. Inside the little hut, the air was hot and still. Mama Ngozi lay on a thin mat covered with a faded wrapper. Her face looked smaller. Her breathing was weak. For a moment, Chibuzo could not move. This same woman, had once starved so he could eat, and now she was lying sick in a poor hut because of him. He dropped to his knees beside her. Mama Ngozi opened her eyes slowly. When she saw him, no joy came first, only pain. "You came," she said faintly. Chibuzo burst into tears. He held her hands carefully. "Mama, forgive me. Please forgive me. I was blind. I was foolish. I sinned against you." Mama Ngozi looked at him for a long time. Then she turned her face away. That hurt him more than if she had slapped him. He cried harder. "I know I don't deserve it, but please, Mama, please." She did not answer, and that silence became his punishment. Chibuzo carried his mother to the hospital himself. He paid for everything he still could. He sat beside her bed. He fed her with his own hand. He cleaned her feet. When nurses asked him if he was her son, shame burned him so deeply that he could barely answer. "Yes," he would say quietly. Some people in the village heard what happened and came to watch, not because they wanted drama, because healing itself had become a kind of public lesson. Mama Ngozi got stronger, little by little, but forgiveness did not come quickly. One evening when they were alone, Chibuzo knelt beside her bed and said again,
Mama, I am sorry. This time, Mama Ngozi spoke. Do you know what hurts me most? She asked. Chibuzo shook his head, tears already filling his eyes. She looked at him. It was not that you chose your wife. It was that you did not look at me and remember who carried you. Those words broke him completely. He bent forward and wept. Mama Ngozi also cried, not loud, just the soft crying of a mother whose heart had been wounded so deeply. After a long silence, she placed her weak hand on his head. I cannot pretend it did not hurt, she said. Chibuzo nodding. I know. But if I keep poison in my heart, it will kill me too, she whispered. He lifted his cheerful face slowly. Mama, I forgive you, she said. And both of them cried like the world had opened and washed them clean. When Mama Ngozi returned to Umako, it was not to the same big house. That house had already begun to empty. Cars were gone, workers were gone, noise was gone. Chibuzo sold what he could, paid debts, and moved into a smaller, simpler house. But for the first time in a long time, peace entered with them. He did not act big anymore. He did not talk proudly. He became gentle in a way pain teaches people to be. In the evenings, he sat outside with his mother the way he did as a boy. Sometimes he read to her from the old Bible she once gave Lilian. Sometimes they just sat in silence. The villagers noticed the change. No one mocked him, because when true repentance is real, even those who were angry begin to soften. One Sunday after church, Chibuzo stood before the whole village square and spoke. He did not hide. He did not defend himself. He said plainly, I wronged my mother. I forgot where I came from. I let pride and bad advice blind me. I stand here ashamed, but thankful that she forgave me. Many people cried. Even old men wiped their eyes. Mama Ngozi sat quietly under the shade, tears running down her face too. No tears of pain this time, tears of release. Months later, people would still tell the story. Not only of the son who sent his mother away, but of the mother who forgave, of the son who lost everything and found something greater. Of the truth that blessing is not money, not cars, not fine houses, and not a polished wife with an empty heart. Blessing is honor. Blessing is remembering the hands that fed you when they had nothing. Blessing is knowing that a mother's love is too holy to insult. And whenever Chibuzo looked at his mother laughing softly in the evening light, he knew this. He had once almost thrown away the best part of his life, but mercy brought him back. Thank you for watching. Kindly share your thoughts in the comment section. What lesson did you learn from this story? Share the story with your loved ones. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so by now. Bye!